Hey YouTube, MrRampro here again, and we've got another, I guess, lower end Gerber to do a review on. This is the Gerber PR 3.0, so kind of a different name, but sounds neat anyways. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm assuming that this is a Chinese-made version also. The box says made in China, and like I said in the other video, unless they're talking about just the box itself, then I would assume the knife is made in China. There's no identifying marks for blade steel other than your Gerber symbol here and Gerber on the clip and on the handle. There's no other identifying marks on the knife itself, so it doesn't say China anywhere. But that doesn't mean that it's not, made in China. So if you did want a knife that was China made but didn't have the China symbol on it, I guess this would work out for you. You do have a 3-inch blade here, and it's not actually an extremely ugly looking blade at all. You do have a pretty nice sweep, and you got a nice thin blade for EDC. I think that this would be fairly good. When I said thin, I was actually referring to this width versus thinness of the blade, because that's actually a fairly thick blade. Let me give you a size comparison here. This is the SOG Flash 2, and the blades are really comparable in size. The widths are just about the same. So we're getting a top view there, handle to handle matchup, and now side by side. Now you can see kind of what you're looking at as far as blade length, and the top says it's a 3-inch blade, so I'm not sure if that's a measurement from the very tip to the bottom. Most likely it is. It's not just the sharpened area, so just a little size there comparison. Blade shape pretty good. You do have, instead of a thumb stud, you do have like one of the thumb tabs screwed directly onto the top. You can take off with a torque screw and remove it if you wanted to, although if you did, you'd have no way of opening this knife. Just like the other one, the thumb tab here on top is extremely close to the handle material, so I've been doing it two-handed opening. You could possibly maybe get your thumb in there at an angle or something to try to open it, but it just hasn't worked out that well for me, so maybe a little practice. This one here I believe I got for like $13, so bought it off of what was that, overstock.com, and you do have a liner lock in this model also. This liner lock is actually a little better than the other. It feels a little bit more sturdy, and if I get the blade started, I can at least get a snap sound, so at least it lets me know, at least it sounds like it's locking up sturdy. So you do have really good line up with your liner in the bottom of the tang of your blade, so you can see there that you do have, you're not all the way over to the right here, but you are completely supporting the blade by the liner, so that's pretty cool. And let's see, you do have a fair amount of jimping here all the way down the handle, as well as the liner, or as well as the liner lock. If it would have been me, I would have left the jimping off the right hand side here and just had it on the liner portion to give me better closing ability with that, but it just kind of gets in the way, and if you kind of notched that out a little bit, you'd have way easier time closing this, and most likely opening it too, because if you cleared out this little chunk of this plastic here, which I'll get to in a minute, that'd give you more room to get to your thumb stud, thumb tab, and to access your liner. So I might actually take that off, put it on the grinder, kind of clean that off, and we might have a fairly effective opening mechanism after that. You do have jimping here on the back with a slight ramp, so that's actually kind of nice. Really doesn't feel bad in the hand. And now I'm going to get to this handle. They call this a triple injection overmold. So you do have the undermold, which is the harder plastic here, and that's like your FRN, like all your other little plastics that your handles are made out of. Feels just like a plastic, but this overmold is a really, really soft rubber, and it fits awesome on your hand, and fits really good just in a gripping manner, and it feels really nice in your hand. I do like this. Sorry, I keep saying I do like the way that they did this rubber overcoating. You do have a lanyard hole here in the back. You do not have a flow through design. It looks like a piece of, like, a Zytail or plastic insert there, but either way, that's not too bad. And with a couple of mods, you can make this thing a fairly accurate, not accurate, goodness, a fairly, okay, mine went blank, sorry. You can make this a decent EDC blade. You do have a low ride pocket clip here. I do not think you can change the pocket clip whatsoever. It doesn't look like you can. You do have two small screws here, which you would think that you could maybe take out and move your pocket clip to, but you are stuck with a right hand tip down carry. So you do have a little cleared out area here in your handle, that hard plastic, that under mold, and that's your only option of carrying. So you do have a pivot point here that you can adjust with a Torx bit, and it looks like Torx screws throughout so you can take it apart for cleaning. So that's pretty convenient. And honestly, the edge is pretty decent. Not the greatest ever. I'd go ahead and clean that edge up a little bit, kind of drop it back, and do a more shallow grind, I guess, or decrease the angle. Probably put like 20 or something on there. If you've got one of the Lansky sharpening things, or any of those other sharpening systems, Linsky's, whatever it is, I don't remember, you can see the relief edges, and they kind of give you an explanation of all those. But that's what I would do with this one here. And really, not a bad knife, not for 13 bucks. I will clean up this edge, and I'll go ahead and do a part 2 video after I do that. Might be a couple of days. Notch this out here, and maybe try carrying it a couple of times and see how it really works out for me. I really don't have too much bad to say about the other one, the Traverse, that I just did a video on. Not really high in the points system, but they are compared to each other. If you had the option, I would definitely go with this PR 3.0. I believe there's AR 3.0 and something else out there, but this one really pretty good. Don't have too many bad things to say about it, especially for a cheaper Chinese-made knife. And like I said, there's no identifying marks whatsoever. So I know some of my friends that don't necessarily like spending the money on an American-made blade. They don't like the China stamp on the bottom of the tang, but they don't want to spend the money for an American-made blade. And this would probably work out pretty good for you, because no one would be the wiser unless they were, a truly knife guy. So they borrow your knife and they don't see any, China-made stamps on there. Not really a big issue, but some people don't like that. So you don't have any other identifying marks other than that Gerber. So that's kind of nice. Keeps it clean. And overall, I would go ahead and give this about probably a 6 to a 7 on the scale. Not the best, but definitely by far not the worst I've ever seen. So we'll clean it up, make it a part 2, and I appreciate you guys watching. Thanks a lot.